Hey guys, this is Lunar Magic here, and it's time for another overlooked but awesome card. I absolutely love this series because there is so much crazy crap that I've never seen before in the history of Magic. Some of these even came from suggestions from you guys, so I legitimately have never heard of some of these cards. Magic has been out for what, 24, 25 years, something like that, so yeah, in that time they printed some pretty crazy crap. So everybody by this point has heard of Platinum Angel. You put it out on the battlefield and you cannot lose the game and your opponent cannot win the game while it's in play. And yeah, it's a lovely card. I mean, it's universally hated by every last human being on planet Earth and those on the International Space Station, but it's very powerful. You can be sitting there with negative 100 life and 50 commander damage and you won't lose the game until that leaves the battlefield, and that's just kind of funny to me. But not many people know about Platinum Angel's polar opposite. Okay, you've heard of this card if you saw my weirdest card series, because this is, one of the weirdest cards ever printed. I think that's not even up for debate. I'm, of course, talking about Abyssal Persecutor. His little special static ability is you can't win the game and your opponents can't lose the game while he's in play. Yes, that is the exact opposite as Platinum Angel. So why would you possibly have this in your deck? Well, one, you actually can summon him directly onto your opponent's side of the battlefield. I think from the graveyard or something, I still don't remember how that works, but there's some card where you can take a creature and throw it onto the opponent's battlefield. That would be a little bit detrimental, but the normal way to play this is, well, it's a flying trampler for 4. That's a 6/6. I mean, that is huge. On the hard to stop scale, I'd give that about an 8 out of 10. And plus, it's a no-win situation. Do they blow it up? Okay, great. Now you can win the game. I mean, they use a kill spell. Great, that helps you out. If they leave them on the battlefield, they're going to die. They're going to get below 20, and if you're playing this in your deck, chances are you have a way to blow it up. I mean, it's black. In fact, it's double black, which means it would be more likely to be found in a mono black deck. What is black known for? Creature sacrificing and creature kills. So most kill spells say target creature, just destroy target creature, whatever. You can even, since this is non-legendary, get a little 2-for-1 special going. This was actually in my Black Death deck briefly. I would use Bone Splinters, so I'd sacrifice one Abyssal, targeting my other Abyssal, and the first one gets sacrificed as part of the payment, the second one would get killed as the spell's target, and then, haha, ta-da! I would usually do that when my opponent was at negative 56. Now, as far as I know, if your opponent has some kind of condition that would make them lose the game, like negative life total, all you have to do is make him leave the battlefield for a second. So if you used a flicker card to just, exile him, then bring him back, I'm pretty sure you would win the game. I'm not 100% sure, though. I think you have to finish spell resolution, but I'm not 100% sure. If you had a spell that said, exile him and bring him back during the end step, oh yeah, then you would definitely have him leave the battlefield. You could also strip him of his abilities, you could, turn him into a frog, just anything. Whatever you can do to get rid of this guy, great. And usually you would do it right as your opponent has, some kind of lose the game type of effect on him. So it's very playable. It's not like, oh, how obscure, how stupid, this is just some dumb card that nobody uses. No, it's actually pretty powerful. I mean, this is arguably one of the most powerful black creatures ever printed as far as, attack power versus combat effectiveness, versus cost. But that's the point. You can't have a 6/6 flying trampler for 4 without a downside, and I'd call that a little bit of a downside. Now, of course, this would not be a royally messed up card without some really hilarious rulings. They felt the need to remind you that your opponent can still forfeit the game. That would be freaking hilarious if your opponent's like, oh, I forfeit, and they start scooping. You're like, yeah, but Abyssal, though. No, you're going to keep playing, damn it. You would also win, and effectively your opponent would lose if they are penalized with a game loss by a judge, and if you're on MTGO if the game clock runs out. So your opponent gets all pissed off at you, flips the table, the judge comes over, and they're like, I'm giving you a match loss. You can't go pick up your Abyssal off the floor and be like, yeah, but I can't lose the game, and he's got to sit down and play. Oh, and maybe I should have read these rulings before. Yeah, if Abyssal Persecutor leaves the battlefield while an opponent has 0 or less life, that opponent will lose the game as a state-based action. No player can respawn between the time it leaves the battlefield and the time that the player loses the game. So if you have a spell that says, exile this creature, then immediately bring it back, and then that's all one sentence in resolution order chronologically, they would actually lose the game in the middle of the spell resolution, which I could have sworn was not how the rules worked, but that's what the ruling says. Now, there is one thing to know if you are going to play this. Even if your opponents can't lose the game, a player still can't pay an amount of life that's greater than his or her life total, which that's actually part of like another rule of the game that not many people know. So your opponent can't lose the game, they play a spell that says blah blah blah, then you lose 2 life. Okay, they go to -2 life or whatever, you know, they do have that happen. But they would not be able to crack a fetch land because fetch lands are phrased pay 1 life, and so that's part of the cost. They are not allowed to pay life if they don't have life. That has come up a grand total of 1 time in my entire Magic career. It was actually somebody attempting to kill themselves. I'm like, yeah, it wouldn't work though, so they just immediately just forfeited. But wait, there is an exception to that rule as well. If you have -10 life and a spell says pay X life, but X equals 0, you are allowed to pay 0 life even though you're below 0 life. Seriously, I'm just going to mail all of you your level 3 judge certification after watching these videos. Now, at one point, he was only printed as a mythic in Worldwake, so there weren't a whole lot of them floating around. Then he was printed as a mythic in Commander 2014, and, well, unsurprisingly, a lot of people took him out of the deck and sold him. So now, yeah, it's pretty reasonable to get him. He's only just a couple dollars last time I checked. So next time you really need that black aggro power, definitely go for Abyssal Persecutor, if you have a way to get rid of him. I'll see you guys next video.